it's June, like the month, and I got asked, what do you do when you struggle to communicate tasks or provide guidance to your team effectively? Oof, we've all seen this happen. And especially if your communication style is quite avoidant, or you don't enjoy confrontation or sitting down with somebody to really talk to them and have not so happy conversations, this is a big one because it's all about how you communicate. It's about positioning as well and enabling your team members to know that there is a safe space to ask for feedback, to get whatever it is that they need, rather than having somebody who shies away from asking you the questions and they just try and figure things out. And then what happens there is they end up doing the thing completely either wrong or not in the way that you like. And then you start to feel as frustrated. It's, oh, why did they spend a whole week or 3 days on this when that's not what I wanted? You want to avoid that loop because that's not productive on both ends, and you'll get even more frustrated that they don't understand your vision or they're not really supporting you in what you want done. The way that I counteract that is, first off, it's really important to make sure that you have some form of guidelines. Now, I'm going to use a graphic designer or any creative brief as an example, especially when you're getting creative support. If you have a vision in your head, it's going to be very difficult for that person to understand, okay, this is the exact output that I need to create, when their mind probably works so differently. Their mind is seeing something else. So you've got to be very specific in your briefs. Like in your briefs, you got to define exactly what it is that you want, and you got to give some examples. It's the same thing as how you're prompting AI. You need to show them the pathway of which way you want it. You've got to give them the variables so that they can work towards something that fits the bill. I think it's really important to highlight that when you do the brief wrong and when you explain it wrong, you can't expect to have the right type of output when you didn't give enough input in the first place. And this is where so many people go wrong, because you get lazy with trying to share or delegate out or explain what it is that you want. You just want the person to get it. And yes, that can happen, but not at the beginning. For example, I've had my graphic designers on for like years. I can say one sentence and they'll know exactly what to make out of it, because not only have we worked together for that long, but it's also that I have certain guidelines. I've got the templates. I've got the guideline list of, okay, this is the style of how things are done. These are the fonts. These are the branding guidelines. You cannot go out of bounds with this. If it's a certain format, I always explain, okay, so for any Instagram carousels, they need to be 4x5 in terms of dimensions. We never do it square because that is not like our best policies for that kind of content. When you have all this in place, become a machine. It starts to become this systematic process that when somebody activates a new task, okay, I know exactly what I need to do for that, and I've already got all of these guidelines. I know exactly what to do. When you are starting out with somebody and you need them to get to that point, best way is to structure out drafts and check-ins and feedback. So instead of having somebody write an entire blog about one title, instead get them to first off write to you, okay, what are the dot points that we're going to be focusing on within this article? What are the key points that I want to get across? List those out, bullet point, and get those approved before going ahead to the next step of writing it out. Because then instead of somebody spending like a day on writing the whole thing and it's completely in a different direction than what you wanted, you see it like in the writing process, and you see it in between, you see it say like 10 minutes in, and you're like, okay, yes, this is the direction I wanted to go in. Otherwise, you can give comments or feedback on, okay, no, this is not what I meant by that. Let me change it up, and can you focus on these points, XYZ? That is how you start to cultivate like a good working relationship with anybody that's on your team. There is a very important piece to having a productive team, and that's around micromanagement. I've seen a lot of the time delegating out a task and then not trusting that person can do it the right way. And there needs to be a way that you approach that kind of feedback, rather than going in and seeing the work that somebody's done, and instead of properly communicating, okay, what can be done better next time, and you just replacing it with something completely different. That is not good for morale. And you don't want to have to constantly follow up with somebody or ask, oh, where is this at? Where is this at? Because it doesn't make somebody feel like you're trusting them with what they need to get done. Trust them to be able to manage their time themselves. Like, that is a must nowadays. And allow them to come to you. Or in my case, what I do is I definitely use CheckUp to make sure that the communication is ongoing. Also, because in CheckUp you can change the status of when you're working on something or not. By changing that and having a system, a tool that somebody's, okay, this is the thing that I'm working on at the moment, great. Now I don't have to ask any questions on what people are doing. On a day-to-day, I can go into the system and I can see, all right, somebody's working on this, the other person working on that. If I can see that, oh, this task has been started or this task has been worked on, but there's something else that's more urgent, I will then activate that task in that system and say, hey, tag that person, hey, by the way, this task is so much more urgent this week. Are you able to focus on this first? Would love if you could switch over or get this done before the other. That's how you promote a healthy kind of team culture, and how you avoid micromanaging somebody, because nobody likes that. One last thing is I set up a meeting each week called a scrum. A scrum meeting is where it allows you to meet with the entire team and you get to go through your wins, your focuses, and your blockers. This is how I do it. And it's just this running doc that we update on a week to week, so that at the start of the week you share with your peers and everybody on your team what it is that your main focus is on, and specifically if there are any blockers, right? The blockers are so that other people know that if you're waiting on them for something, that is shown. Or if you're really struggling with something, then somebody else can come in to support you. It's also an amazing space to cultivate team culture. You can catch up with everybody week on week, and of course, making sure you celebrate those wins. The wins that you've done something great the week before, or an outcome came back, or you've had amazing feedback from a client. Sharing this allows the whole team to feel the same happiness from that and celebrate together. I think it's like one of the best things, because sometimes I get like stuck and forget, and then I'll have somebody from the team share an amazing, beautiful story of a win, and you're like, oh yeah, this is why we do it. So I hope that was helpful. If you like the vibe, please subscribe. I'm JuneAye, and I hope you have an amazing day. Ciao, bye.